What is good, YouTube? We're back with another video. I told myself that I would post every day, so here we are. I'm making another video. I'm kind of trying to think of a topic, right? And something that came up yesterday in one of my conversations was literally just that, in order to get to the level that you want to be at, in order to be absolutely exceptional, you have to be willing to make some type of sacrifice, right? You have to be willing to give up a few things because at the end of the day, to achieve where you want to be at, you can't just expect to stay the same. You can't expect to keep doing things the way you've been doing. You can't expect to keep making the same type of decisions you've been doing or thinking the same way, making the same choices, surrounding yourself with the right people, with the same people, right? All these little things need to change in order for you to achieve some type of success and actually get to where you want to go, right? And I was talking to my guy Brian about it with, the other day, and we were just talking about it, and it's like, I kind of told him on the call, I'm like, yo, you're 19, I'm 19. Most 19-year-olds, they feel like they're missing out if they're on this journey of, focus. They're on a journey of trying to better themselves and run a business and grow a business and better their life. They kind of have this idea that like they're missing out on something, right? Most people our age are just blacking out every weekend. They're going to parties to celebrate absolutely nothing. They're in college working towards, a lot of them, aren't even really working towards anything in college. Like, they just don't have a lot of direction, right? And that's where the standard is. Like, that's where everyone else is. And it's just crazy to think about that at 19, like just by being different and just by making a lot of sacrifices, I was able to, just get in a position where, okay, so many people try and fail, right? So many people never even try. But then, because I feel like you have different levels. You have the people that never try because they're too scared. Then you have the people that actually try something, but then they kind of quit, right? And then you have the people that stick with it and they get to the high point and they get to a little bit of success and then they lose it all, right? And out of those people, it just filters out who's actually meant for success because so many people at some point along that path, they just fall off, right? And I've been through all of them, right? I've been too scared to try. Then I've been to the point where, I wanted to quit. And then I got to the point where I had a high and a low and I wanted to quit and I fell off. And I came back every time because at the end of the day, I'm in this for the long term, right? I'm in business for the long term. Cash flow barbers, you guys are going to be the biggest name in barber education in the next 5 years. We're going to be working with the biggest names ever. We're going to set standards and absolutely just crush any limitations and set new standards for the industry, right? Because I have a vision, and so I can't quit on that, right? But a lot of people get a taste of success. A lot of people get a taste of success, and then they want to go back to where they were because they start feeling like they're missing out. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that the life that you live as an entrepreneur means that you're going to have to choose, right? You cannot expect to, just keep being like a normal person or just be undisciplined and make bad choices and expect a magical outcome, right? When I was in high school and I first started grinding, I had to sacrifice sleep, I had to sacrifice friendships, I had to sacrifice comfort. I had to have a lot of hard conversations and make a lot of very hard choices, right? Telling my parents that I was going to move out. That was a hard, my parents were, pretty upset. Telling my parents that I wasn't really focused on getting a normal job, like I wanted to be a barber. Telling my shop owner that I was going to raise prices, telling my clients that I was going to raise prices. There was a lot of discomfort and hard choices that led me here. And I could have just stayed, in a comfortable spot, but then I would be sacrificing growth, right? I'd be sacrificing where I actually want to be. So at the end of the day, the people that might be dragging you down, the habits that might be dragging you down, you still hang around the people from your past. And like every time you're around them, it kind of feels like you have to put on an act or you have to kind of fake some stuff just to relate to them, right? Because you just don't relate to them anymore. Or just losing out on a few friends or a few connections because you chose to isolate yourself for a while to really focus on what you wanted. Or even missing out on certain moments with your family, with your friends temporarily so that you could say no to everything in order to benefit from the long-term vision, right? But the people who are really at the top are willing to give up more. They're willing to give up everything to get to their goal. And the people who have a cutoff, where it's like, I'm not willing to sacrifice this, I'm not willing to put in that extra hour, I'm not willing to go a month without making any money. I'm not willing to almost go broke. I would never do that, right? I'm not willing to go through these really hard times because that's too hard for me. I'm just not willing to do that. But on the other side of that, the person who's willing to do anything and willing to do whatever it takes is always going to succeed. I almost went broke. Cash flow barbers didn't make me really any money for my first year at all. It was like 2 to 3K a month. But I was building a product. I knew that it was a long-term vision, that I was working on my product before I worked on my marketing, right? But now I'm in a position where we're able to grow it a little more. And, like even recently, I switched my niche in my barber business. I started targeting a different type of haircut. It got slow for a while, but it picked back up. We just did $1,000 on Saturday, right? $1,000 in one day, and it doesn't even feel crazy. It just kind of feels normal, right? But at the end of the day, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get to where I want to go. The other successful people that you guys see are willing to do whatever it takes. And in a way, that's the competition. So be willing to sacrifice more. Be willing to give up everything to get to where you want to go. Understand that it's not going to come without sacrifice. So just embrace it, right? Embrace the sleepless nights. Embrace hopping on and learning things when you don't want to learn, right? Embrace just, you're really tired. You want to go home and it's just one last haircut. And you might be a little late for hanging out with friends. You might never even get to hang out with your friends, right? Or you might just have to completely cut off a few people, right? Or whatever the case might be. But understand that if you're willing to give that up, there's a reward on the other side. Hopefully that was a solid message for you guys. That's just kind of on my mind right now. We're going to get out some value this week. We're going to drop a vlog. We're going to drop a lot of student interviews. We're still focused on recording one video per day. I'm not posting one video per day, but I'm recording one video a day. Little delay with the editing. We're going to get to it. Hopefully this was valuable for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video. Let's go.